Hi guys, my name is Hari. So this is my first video on YouTube, which will try to help all the guys who is into business, who is trying to digitally transform. And other than that, I'm going to bring lots of economy reforms, and you have to really know what is the ground reality so that you can understand the basics. So because we are in the arena right now, so where we really don't know what we're because we are a mouthpiece of someone else, right? So we really don't know the ground reality. When Elon Musk's trying to tweet something and we go with that and share, hits the top and it hits the rock bottom. Okay, so basically we here I'm trying to give lots of insights about not only about the economy, so about what the future lies for us. Okay, we really don't want to be the robot or the people who's going to get outsourced for many reasons, right? So here I am to make sure that we are going to speak what we are from the heart, and at the same time I'm trying to help that what we have to make sure that we are very strong, because we have to know certain things as basics, otherwise we cannot sustain in life. The first topic which I'm going to hit today is what would happen to business, okay, that don't digitally transform in the next quarter, right? So that is the first thing which I'm going to speak right now. Okay, so what would happen to the business that won't digitally transform? Okay, so are you super excited to the back in the so where we see couple of months before I can get into any kind of thinking what I have to cut the grass? Don't judge me, right? So we have to keep thinking on that aspects. Okay, so are we going to digitally transform? What is gardening clearly is my forte. All right, so best for me, we will start here to have a first task about what is the transformation for me. It's quite simple. Digital transformation is a deliberate practice of trying to strategically reposition one's organization to make sure that I'll benefit from the digital economy. So what is the digital economy here, right? So the first thing is, let's say in 1965, Theodore Levitt wrote a HPR, okay, article, which he introduced the idea of product life cycles, which simply wants to off of all the fears of business into the business to grow, so that the sections, however, competition starts to increase, the market matures, and over the time there will be decline. That all happens on a timeline of T that we are seeing because of a new digital economy is the life. T is shrinking on the timeline from introduction to growth, maturity, and decline is also increasing the difficulty business leaders have. Is are they able to create a business that is capable of going through these life cycles much quicker? That's a problem, right? The fundamental part of the digital transformation is a business that fail to take Lewis's advice and understand how the cycle works typically get stuck. The future they think, if we change, then instead of creating more adaptable business, and how we are looking for operational efficiencies, so that which happens, we don't want to digital transform, is what they get caught in the cycle, whereby you keep looking for the technology to help build your again, and extra squeeze of price, that little extra piece of longevity and reality, digital transformation, and those all things are a complex past, right? So what I would say, and what I would suggest is, it's a marginal gains in which goes far because of the collapsing attitudes which the people and the economy has right now. So, I see, for example, when I started my business on way back, some time back, right? So I sold some software with a big global accounts, as you would expect, so we would never see lots of money which is happening there, right? So that's a topple because the two things happened. One, marketers took over buying the email marketing, because remember, we were doing this, was no Facebook, there was no YouTube, nothing outbound technologies that are today except the text messaging. Marketers took over instead of technologists, and it moved to the client, and two things happened that made it affordable, effective, and convenient, so that said, no ever gonna go much more sophisticated they do, right? One ever going to reduce the pain and for because they have got trusted relationship. 18 I worked with some client for 18 months, and so the company not deceived me. And a guy which me is a professional, and the innovators, they thought that a dilemma of shifting to the other region, right? So that is how they don't want to transform the reality breed. It's a digital transformation, but it still holds tight what we need and what we deliver. It's like an arbitrage of the companies. Okay, so it's preordinated hack. Okay, which means that we could act it, but they could act it, but we couldn't think other than what they really require, right? So that is what has happened forever, for a long time. Now the cycle is a dip. It will dip quickly, and what happens when it does happen, it because of the crushing, as I find out in 2007, right? 2007, 2008, I think. So on 2008, so most digital transformation experts will tell us that you're dead if you don't want digital transform. It's not just that straightforward. While yes, we have to digital transform in order to compete better in digital economy, we are often told that likes of a blockbusters are where the testimony as to what happens when the business is overtaken by new competitor like Netflix. As I point out, it's a recent blog actually. The blockbuster were are not asleep as the wheel. The senior leaders have actually spotted the Netflix trend, went to invent and realized that it was going to the cost of 400 million. Couldn't, right? The and funds and the franchises that they need to change. It was leadership challenge that no one would have been able to take on off if we could took a Kodak. With everybody says what kind of business to sleep at the wheel, and therefore it reached its inevitable death outcome. Kodak didn't make money from digital photography because nobody made money from digital photography. Maybe Facebook asset, I'll point out, but you couldn't have got Kodak to go and start inventing a Facebook. The digital camera business would never have replaced the processing on film recorders that Kodak has so famously made it money from, resulting its death in 2011. So it's not a matter that if you don't digitally transform, we are dead, and we do digitally transform, we served. It is something more nuanced, that it's where the senior leaders have to create organizations that are capable to flex based upon new insights, and they see them, of course, that's going to be powered by technology, but by to mistake as being a technology is to be short-sighted. You got what I mean? There is so much of agony, so because people don't realize what digital is all about, right? So that's the reason I'm trying to shout as much as I could, right? So some people might think that I'm so stupid because this is my first video. So my conclusion through this is the timeline of business models is shrinking principally due to the rapid adoption of technology, and customer preference in changing the business reaction is to try to squeeze more juice of their existing business model into the hope that they will change and they will save reality. Is that is most certainly one that transformation is the needed. The transformation is difficult nuances in required, as the term transformation points out, that requires changes to business structures. It requires changes to the departments we have inside our business to be able to create a business model and experiment at the test, and to feel and to get up and to be changed, and what is where fundamentally going to do should be done in structured way using evidence, data, feedback, and all this where renaming maintenance business usual. The bigger the business, the harder it has. We have seen in some of the examples, it's not easy to task, but it's definitely also not impossible, and it is definitely not simple, something that the leadership should outsource to IT. The digital world may put you off. The transformation world should make you interested once again. But the reality, right? The reality is what the thinkable can think, right? If you think a lot, you have 99 questions or 100 questions where you can just ask me, and whatever I know, I can definitely answer you guys, right? Thank you for the session. Bye bye.